All right, so welcome to today's Arborist Call on the 16th of October, 2025. I'm Pili from the Zcash Foundation, and this is the agenda for today's meeting. So we'll start off with some updates from the teams working on the core Zcash stack, the Zcash Foundation, the Electric Coin Company, and Single Labs. And then we will follow this up with some updates from teams working on research and implementation of new features, such as Get It on ZSAs, Shielded Labs on NSM, and Shielded Labs and Electric Coin Company on Crosslink. We will then open up the floor to participants to make any announcements, or if there's any discussion topic that has come up during the call or people want to bring up, then we will have time for that at the end. So what is the Arborist Call? The Arborist Call is a bi-weekly call where Zcash protocol contributors meet up to discuss upgrade timelines and process, protocol research and development efforts, design and implementation of new protocol features, and we also meet to identify blockers and unresolved issues. And the purpose of this call is to try to make Zcash protocol development accessible to interested parties and to provide more transparency for everyone interested in Zcash. Anyone can register to attend. You can go to zcasharborist.org. And if you want to become more involved and present during this call, you can email us at arboristschool@cfnd.org, and we'll get a presentation slot for you. Outside of the Arborist Call, you can participate in Zcash community by applying to one of the grant programs. You can also take part in community discussions in the Zcash Android Discord or the Zcash community forums. And there are clickable links for all of these if you go to zcasharborist.org. So let's see if we've got people. Yeah, let's start with some updates from Zebra, from Setups Engineering team. I think this is Marek today. Please take it away, Marek.
Yep, it's me today. Thanks, Billy. So we've just published a release candidate for NU 6.1, which is Zebra 3 RC. And if everything goes well, we'll turn that into Zebra 3. In the past 2 weeks, we've also merged a bunch of externally contributed PRs, which were related to error handling, RPC APIs, and the reg test mode. Big thank you to the authors of those PRs. They were great contributions. We've also fixed a divergence from Zcash-D in Zebra's reg test that was reported by the Zeno folks. We have also finally looked at Zebra's performance, and the result of that effort is that Zebra 3 will sync much faster than Zebra 2. The fastest sync we've had so far was 8.5 hours, and the slowest one was somewhere around 16 hours. And, these are much better numbers than the 50 to 70 hour syncs we used to have. I have one more update for developers who work with Zebra. We've updated the docs for building it, and the main update there is that you can link RuxDB dynamically if you are tired of recompiling it whenever Cargo decides to do so. RuxDB, as you know, is a C++ library which Zebra uses for its persistent storage, and it takes a while to compile it. And if you want to skip that entirely, you can install RuxDB as a system library and point the compiler at it, and it will just link it dynamically. The docs have the instructions, but they are not rendered yet on the web because we haven't finished migrating to a new hosting provider for the docs. Yep, and that's all I've got.
Cool, thank you, Marek. We have a question on the chat about whether we have any comparison with Zcash-D for the sync.
I don't know how fast Zcash-D syncs off the top of my head. I remember it was around 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah,
We haven't done it recently.
it's certainly more than 8 hours, but that is
Okay.
syncing probably from Genesis rather than from I guess sapling activation. So there's some difference there probably.
The last time, I can't remember exactly, but it was faster than 2 days. It has gotten faster recently, significantly faster.
Zcash C or Zebra?
I'm sorry, Zebra. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you,
That's
Natalie.
awesome.
Cool. Any other questions for Marek or the rest of the Zcash team? Zcash Foundation team, sorry.
Congratulations, folks. It's a huge release.
Cool. Should we move on? Let's move on. Next up is updates from the ECC. Chris, is that you today?
That is me. So let's see, since the last Arborist call, we had just made the NU 6.1 Zcash D release, and then there's been a lot going on with respect to massive influx of Zashi users. And with that massive influx of Zashi users, they have discovered some corners of the Zashi wallet backend that needed to have some bugs fixed and clean up and whatnot. So that has been our primary focus for the last couple of weeks. So we have not made substantial progress. Strad did add a PR for adding authentication or to the Zale API because we did not have password authentication there previously, and cookie auth is in the works. But that's basically it on our side. So we've made updated. Oh, we did make an updated crate release of Zcash keys in addition, and there will be new releases of the Zcash client backend and the remainder of the Libra Zcash stack probably next week. Yeah, so that's it. So our primary focus for the next couple of weeks going forward is, so I am mostly focused still on wallet backend tasks, but Dara, Emma, and Strad are putting all of their attention towards the Orchard crate review for Kedit, so that we can move that process forward. And then probably after the next Arborist call is when we will actually be getting back to more work on Zale and Zcash deprecation.
Great.
That's
Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris?
I have a question.
Go for it.
What kind of big influx of users, or like how many? What has changed? I'm curious.
So I don't have the exact numbers, but I think that Josh may have posted some of these in his weekly update. But essentially, we've gotten as many new Zashi users in the past 2 weeks as we have in the past year. So
Cool.
Any other questions for Chris? Yeah, congratulations, guys. Okay, let's move on. Next up is Single Labs and Zeno. Who wants to give the update?
I can speak. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Dorian.
For the last 2 weeks, we've been making a bunch of progress in the RPC endpoints, with 4 completed. I think one of them was Paku, done by Paku, thank you. And there are also 2 more under review. And on the Sale side, we've been making also progress on the chain index integration, which is a replacement for the old local cache we were using.
Thank you, Dorian. Any questions for Dorian or the rest of the Single Labs team? Okay, lot of questions today. Let's move on. Zcash application updates. Pat, would you want to take this one?
Hey, yes. Thank you, Billy. Well, besides everything that was covered by Chris and Dorian, the outreach efforts have been significantly been improved by this influx of people's interest in Zcash. So responses and interest from partners has raised significantly, which is very good. We are getting new responses for the network upgrade friction survey that we are conducting to know how dramatic or how awesome our network update processes involving transaction changes are. That's something that we had a lot of suppositions, but we didn't have any real information or data we could make decisions on. And as well as interest for the Zale Alpha. So thanks to all this privacy focused interest of the public, we are being more prioritized, and that's helping out a lot to get new Sale Alpha interest, and also interest on Zira or interest on block explorers, and API providers that would like to provide RPCs for Zcash developers or Zcash enthusiasts. So we're improving a lot there. So it's very exciting. Then we're starting to work towards deprecating liability. That it's like the small cousin of deprecating Zcash, I guess. That a lot of that is happening at Likeline working group. But the work kind of it has an intersection with this section, and we're starting to work towards that with working on adding transparent data to the Likeline protocol to make everything related to shielding or supporting transparent from mobile wallets or Likelines to be less leaky in terms of what information the clients request to the servers and what the servers can learn about that. And so that's something that it was not kind of on the radar when we started all of this, but it became necessary, so that it means that we're making a lot of progress, that we start to think about what's necessary to sunset liability. So it's awesome. That's kind of it.
That's great. Thank you, Paku. Any questions for Paku or any comments? I look forward to reading some of the responses to the annual friction survey if that's available to me. Good to get some feedback. Cool. Let's move on to the research and implementation updates, starting off with Keret. Vivek, is that you today?
Yeah, that's me. Hi, Pili and everyone else. So yeah, we have a few updates to discuss today. So yeah, and starting with the zips. So we had some changes to the zips since the last time I was giving the update, though I think that was 2 months ago. So then that most of the work has got completed in the last month, and Pablo probably mentioned that last month. Things are again largely stable. We made one refactoring to the zip regarding the Orchard note plain text recently. That turns out to be affected by both ZSAs and the memo bundles. And so that's currently open on the on the zips repo, that pull request. So other than that, like, yeah, besides, we've made pretty much all these zip changes all across the stack, which is Orchard, Libra, Zcash, Zebra, the test vectors, and so on. Going specifically to the repositories, Orchard, as Chris mentioned, we've been keeping the Orchard pull request, the upstream pull request, ready for review on a war footing so that ECC can get started with the review whenever it works out. We did also have a meeting with Derama a couple of days ago, and we gave a quick tour of our changes over there, the Orchard ZSA changes. So Derama spotted something that could leak like a small amount of info about like which assets are not being transferred in there. And so yeah, we made that fix as well already. It's just a small like shuffle of the actions of like in the Orchard implementation, and we'll be merging that. I think it's just like in the final stages of review, so we'll merge that in the next few days, I guess. Yeah, Libra Zcash wise, we've also kept that up to date with all the zip changes. We were working on like making this also like up to date with upstream. I think we got like the main stuff in, like the stuff that actually interacts with our protocol. I'm not sure if we are like up to date to the last commit or anything like that. We've also begun implementing the fees for ZSAs in Libra Zcash. So that's something that we've been discussing a bit with Chris and Alfredo from ECC and Zcash Foundation. So I made like a first draft of that, but I am still like adding a few tests to make sure things work as expected. And then like we'll review it once, and then we'll probably discuss it with Chris and Alfredo in the next time we meet. Yeah, Zebra wise, I think we've made some good progress as well there. We we brought it up to date to, I think, version 2.4.2, I think, of Zebra, slightly older than like the current version, but we caught up a bunch. And we've also made like good progress on the state management front for like there's additional state that needs to be added for ZSAs. And yeah, we've also made it working with the latest version of Orchard and Libra Zcash that have these zip changes implemented. And yeah, last is the test vectors. That's also, we've worked on that and made that up to date with all the zip changes that happened over the last month. So yeah, that's the basic status. I think we have an open PR for Libra Zcash as well, but that's something that won't probably be getting like reviewed until after the Orchard review, and then the Orchard review will have possibly like knock-on changes there. So that's not, it's there on the repository, but it's probably not going to be immediate review stuff. Yeah, that's basically the update from us.
I think you're muted, Maria.
I think you're muted, Pili.
Sorry, I was just saying that Mark has been very helpfully putting up links on the chat for everyone related to those. Any questions for Vivek? Okay, well, thank you, Vivek. Let's move on to NSM, Shielded Labs. Hey, Mark.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, as you pointed out, I posted 2 links to 2 different pull requests in the chat. Marius has been dutifully merging them and keeping them up to date with main. And I believe they're all but ready to be merged at this point. They might need a couple extra ACKs from people or whatever the process is there, but I think those are ready. And once those are merged, we'll move on to zip 234 and zip 235. That's all from us.
Great, short and sweet. Any questions for Mark?
I've pinged Emma for the test vector review again.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's move on to Crosslink. Who can talk about that today?
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
Hi. Let's see. First, we have a demo video. So let me see if I can.
Oh, do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, is that possible?
This is always fun. Yeah. I'll just stop sharing. And then do I need to give you? It's been a while since I've done this. I don't know. Can you just do it yourself or?
Can people see my screen? It says I am sharing.
Yep, we can see it.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. Let's see. So, oh, this is exciting. Okay. Where are my downloads? Fingers crossed.
We don't get any audio from you, though.
Okay. That's going to be interesting. So,
Nate, if you just switch to your laptop microphone instead of your ear pods and then just play the video, it should just pick it up.
okay. I'm not yet sure how to do that. No. Maybe. Here, let me just try disconnecting the earpods.
We unfortunately don't have Sam today as he's not feeling well, so you'll have to make do with just me. Since the last Arborist call, we had a workshop in which we learned quite a lot about the UX for onboarding finalizers. And we're now at the point where we can just run the executable without doing any config, and it'll join the existing testnet. It'll gradually get up to sync, and we can see here that we're now getting both proof of work and proof of stake blocks. So it's worth noting that the roster management is occurring on the proof of work side. Very temporarily, this is stored in the proof of work block headers. Now, this has a couple of implications. One, the fact that it's now in the proof of work chain means that anyone running internal miner can get themselves into the roster without any manual intervention from the Shielded Labs team. So this is exciting. The downside of the fact that it's in the header as opposed to in a transaction is that if it were in transactions, it would be being shared in the mempool, which is very low latency, and everyone would know about it very quickly. The fact that it's in a header means that it is relying on block sync, which is slightly higher latency. And it means that you kind of end up with, you may end up with a side chain locally of the blocks you mined, which then don't get transferred over to everyone else. And you have to keep resubmitting your roster requests until you actually get on. This is interesting for testing purposes, having all these side chains, but is obviously not the end goal for production. So we can see we've got our roster being updated, and as we finalize new blocks, both the members of the roster accumulate new stake, and also we get new additions to the roster. Currently, we have a kind of insecure username thing going on where you can add yourself with a human readable name, but this obviously is not the production intent. That'll just be a public key. Yeah, so rather than waiting for this to fully sync, I am going to quit and run a reg test version just to demonstrate a couple of things. So the roster model is not one where you have to completely register you have to register as a finalizer, and then people stake to you. We have a model where by staking to an address, what will be a public address, and is currently a username, you implicitly create the roster member. So we started with myself as a roster member, and we can add some stake. So if we submit this command, then fairly shortly a proof of work block will be generated with this. Let's see, give it a sec. And you can see I started with 1 stake. This is a kind of fairly arbitrary number. And once a block was finalized, we get 6,000 total reward. Again, completely arbitrary number per block. This will, and then this gets distributed between the members of the roster by stake. And we can see, where was it? Somewhere around here. Yeah, we added this command, added a bunch of stake to myself, and we now have a bunch more stake here. This interface is available both in the GUI and also via the command line. And it's worth, I'll show here that we can add stake to any arbitrary person or address or node. And they will become, once they get added and finalized, let's see, it'll be somewhere around here. Here we go. Once this gets finalized, we will see Billy get added to the roster. Here we go. And is accumulating stake relative to their position on the roster. Now, we have a workshop coming up next Wednesday on the 22nd. So if you can join us for that, then you get to play with everything I've just shown here. And if all going well, we may also have an extra surprise to show. Until then, I will see you later. Take care, everyone. Okay, quick addendum. I just...
All right.
Cool.
So
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, I also have overall updates. So like we said, we're doing a workshop next week, and that is basically the same functionality as our last workshop, but our last workshop had a bunch of hurdles and snags to participate. So this workshop should be much easier. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, I cut off part of the video. Sorry about that. So if you want to participate next week, it should be much easier. You should be able to just run, like build and run the node with with like a default configuration, and it should join the network. And let's see, we've been blogging about our staking design and getting a lot of feedback about that. We have yet to implement it. And we've also started discussions on how to sort of evolve our testnet. So, right now you just saw a video demo kind of showing the functionality of the testnet, but our ideal is to evolve it all the way to the point that it's like a production quality feature testnet, well before it is scheduled to be activated in a network upgrade, so that we have like people are able to do end-to-end testing of say wallets or other infrastructure. And we've been brainstorming ways to make that more real with real Zcash. And so the easiest or most obvious way to do that is to have rewards or bounties for participating, if you can achieve certain goals. But we've also been brainstorming, are there other ways we could, other more sophisticated mechanisms, such as like if you burn Zach on mainnet, then that gives you the ability to stake on testnet, or more radical ideas like that. We
haven't committed to anything like that, but I just wanted to share that we're trying to brainstorm ways to sort of smoothly let people opt in to trying out Crosslink with real Zec at stake, so that we can get validation and confirmation that people want it and it's useful before we have to activate it in the core protocol. And then the last piece is we have made a ticket. I wanted to draw people's attention to this just a moment. We have a ticket about preparing a emergency patch. And the idea of this is this would be like a permissionless patch that has a hotfix that sort of disables proof of stake and reverts back to proof of work. And obviously we don't ever want to need to use that, but our thinking is if it's already like prepared and tested, it can help improve confidence and also let's see, if there is any emergency situation where that is the right move, people will already know, some people will already know it exists. So we can shorten the turnaround time to release like an emergency hotfix update. And that turnaround time is important because it affects our security reasoning about how long staking needs to be locked up. Like how long is the unlocking delay? And so we've gotten a lot of feedback from people who have experience staking on different networks, and there's a variety of delays. So like a Solana might be very fast. It might be on the order of 2 days. Ethereum has this queue and so it varies, but when we looked at a point in time, it was about 28 days. And so that makes a big difference for user preferences for people who stake on different networks. But from our sort of security focused perspective, we want to make sure that if there is malicious activity involving stake, the network of users sort of has the opportunity to like freeze things and figure out what happened. But we don't want any sort of like freeze button in the protocol. We don't want any sort of centralized control. So this idea of having the emergency patch prepared ahead of time is sort of like a balancing act between, you know, decentralized permissionless thing that people could choose to activate in an emergency upgrade versus trying to keep the unlock period short so that staking is appealing to users.
I have a question about that. How would that work in practice then? Would everyone running a Zebra node have to run a new version, or is it like a command that you ran on the Zebra node?
No, it would have to be a new version. So it would basically be an emergency network upgrade. We've never had to do one of those, like on short notice. And so it would require, since this is disabling proof of stake, it would require, it's a little bit tricky, but it basically requires most of the mining capacity to install the new hotfix node. So they would have to be convinced. And then also we would want to make sure like exchanges and so forth are all on the same page to avoid confusion. And it could cause a chain split. And just a reminder, Zcash, our very first upgrade called Overwinter, made a change so that in the event of a chain split, users should have more safety around their funds because it prevents what was called a replay attack that can happen kind of by default on blockchains that split. So that would be the worst case probably. And hopefully even having the notion that there is this emergency patch would deter people from trying to do malicious activity where this could be used. So it is what it is. If you're interested, you can check out that ticket. So
Yeah.
it's number 224.
Cool. Thank you, Nate. Will
Yep.
do. Any other questions for Nate? Okay. I think that's the last update then. Any announcements from anyone for today? Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, I don't know if this is an announcement or a discussion topic. I'm interested in standardizing burning Zec for a few reasons. And then also standardizing how can we post public information with a transaction. So there's a few ways to do these things already, but I'm interested in standardizing it to make it available for like app developers. And one, I've been asking around if people are interested in anything that burns Zec, and ZecMech got in touch with me, and he's been sort of doing the design side of like a social app, so like a Twitter replacement that uses Zcash burning to like remove spam or things like that. So he was interested in it. And by the way, he's also looking for anyone who can help him with the actual like backend Zcash wallet coding. So if anyone's interested, you can talk to him. Yeah, so I don't know how to go about standardizing that. But I guess for me, the first step is to chat with people intimately familiar with wallets and transactions and wallet APIs and see what like a good API and implementation might look like. So if you're interested in that, get in touch with me.
Great. Thank you, Nate. I think I saw the post on the forum from ZecMech about this, where he's talking about what do you get for burning? Do you get like option to participate in governance decisions? I think that was one of the things he was talking about. Cool. Well, any other announcements, or we can switch to discussion, or let's just switch to discussion. Any other topics up for discussion today? Raise your hand if you do. Dorian, go ahead.
Yeah, this is probably like too specific, but there's an endpoint in Sino that is not going to be implemented in Zebra, and there it relies on an implementation detail of Zcash. So I decided to start writing a spec for it, and I left a link in the Sino Discord channel if folks want to take a look at it.
Okay, thank you, Dorian. Do you have the link so you can post it also on the chat here? It might be
Yeah.
useful for people after. I'll wait for that. And then if anyone else has any other discussion items. Thank you, Dorian. So there's the link on the chat to the spec, I guess. Okay. Any other discussion topics? I don't see anyone. Last chance to raise your hand. We'll wait for 2 weeks until the next one. Okay, let's leave it there. Thanks, everyone. We will have the next Arborist call on the 30th of October at 21 UTC. See you then. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.